What's up, y'all? This is Ross. Right now, we're on the Paradigm Review Show. I'm with my man Mac, representing Guerrilla Alliance Star. Today, we're going to be reviewing the film Apostle on Netflix, 2018, directed by Gareth Evans. Um, Pretty awesome horror film. And if you like horror, we highly advise that you check this out. Quick, brief synopsis via IMDb. In 1905, a drifter on a dangerous mission to rescue his kidnapped sister tangles with a sinister religious cult on an isolated island. So, Mac can start us off here. What do you have
Well,
from the film
well, what
Apostle?
can I say about this movie right here? Well, obviously, when you're gonna take the first look at it, everybody's gonna think, obviously, oh, is this another Wicked Man or is this another The Village? You
Yeah,
know, even though the setting does look like that and the environment does seem like that, it's totally something a lot different.
for
It
sure.
has like a very strong occultic theme in there.
Hmm.
Uh, Pretty much. Not to mention there's a mythos in there, that it makes a reference to. The character's name, pretty much is Thomas. I believe what is it? Thomas Richardson. I think it was Thomas Richardson, played by Dan Stevens. He was the actor that played there. His performance as that character, I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was something too wow, just because I could tell he was trying to get into that character of like a man who's been deprived and lost his faith, in his
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
I totally agree.
and trying to yeah, what I mean, redeem himself. So I don't know, what I mean, like, but the character, you know, it was
Hey,
done to the best of the ability and all. So yeah.
quick tip, Mac. Just move like 5 inches to your left if you don't mind, and you'll be good. You're a little
Ugh.
yeah, you were cut off. You're good. You're good to go. Yeah, no, I totally agree with what you're saying. So that was the protagonist you're referring to. That was
Yeah, the protagonist,
now I thought his performance
Thomas.
was pretty good. I'm not saying that it's anything crazy. It's not Leonardo DiCaprio. It's not Robert Downey Jr. But uh, given that I didn't know much about the film, I think I had seen the trailer either on YouTube or I think I saw maybe Mr. H's review channel promoting it. I'd seen a couple channels kind of promoting it and stuff like that. So I mean, I didn't really have huge expectations for this film. I kind of just was like, hey, I like horror. It's October. I'm trying to get into it. You know what I'm saying? So I thought he did pretty well. I mean, in my opinion, I thought most of the leads did pretty well. Him, the protagonist, the antagonist, and some of the other main characters. Some of the supporting characters that didn't have as many lines and stuff like that. Were kind of typical, as you were saying. I mean, maybe some of them were average, but as far as people who were carrying their roles and carrying the story, in my opinion, I thought they did pretty well. Like I'm saying, nothing over the
Oh
top
no,
spectacular, like you said, but I thought it was good.
right. No, I'm not knocking him completely. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, it's like what he did play, the role the way it's supposed to be played, obviously. You know what
Absolutely,
I'm saying? Like, it was real at the very, especially at the end, it was very dramatic,
for
you
sure.
know.
And
So
yeah,
yeah,
and I think
it,
what you were saying is I think that's difficult to pull off. Having that
right.
transition of a character showing up out of place and coming into their own and being pushed past the point of no return, and like you said, then going all in the climax. I thought, as we spoke on, earlier, I thought, his time to shine was that climax and that ending, which we both said was the payoff. But we don't need to get
Yeah,
right this second.
but definitely though, it's I love the transition of it, the whole story's transition. Like obviously it starts off slow,
Yeah, for sure.
but
We both agree.
once you start seeing what this guy was pretty much what this cult was all about, and saw, once he infiltrated and went deeper, even went so far as protecting the antagonist. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
In
Don't.
order to get him his good gracious and such, just to like find his sister.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, obviously you can see where it transpired to, and
Yeah. Yeah. That's
you know,
yeah. See that sold me on it too. And as you said, I mean, the 1905 backdrop. I mean, you don't see a lot of turn of the century films. Maybe like Jack the what's it called, From Hell or something like that. But
yeah,
that backdrop I thought was really original. And again, like you said, like definitely not your typical cult movie in my opinion. I thought the story was pretty pretty original. I don't know if Gareth Evans wrote this one as well as directed it. I'm not sure if it had a different writer, but
Right.
for me, it was much better than Wicker Man or like you said, Village of the Damned. As far as a cult movie, I would argue this is probably the best one I've seen, just as far as originality and story wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tense.
Well, of course, you'll be happy to know what Gareth Evans also did. He also did The Raid,
Oh yeah,
Redemption.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, this is
Yeah.
if you haven't seen the Raid Redemption, and I feel like this shows versatility on his part because you see something like the Raid Redemption, you're like, it's the best hardcore, new school action, kung fu, brutality, violent, whatever you want to call it, and that's a totally different culture. So yeah, when I see his name on it, like right away, I'm interested, and then I'm saying like, oh, like okay, horror, dark, cult movie, like everything that you said. So,
And you could tell like he has that knack for like gritty.
for
You
sure,
know what
yeah,
I mean? Because you see it like even in the Apostle, like that one scene where he was hiding from one of the guardsmen. He was in that little tunnel and all that, and then all of a sudden that uh the goddess, which is like the vampiric type woman and all that, drinks all the blood, just
yeah,
give more force, more life into the island,
yeah,
basically.
yeah,
And she invaded him in that tunnel,
yeah.
straight
Hey,
up, just putting
ease
like
up
the effects.
on the spoilers, bro, because you're, you're blowing up every scene right now. But if you can, just try to do it in a way that's not like just say what you liked about it, but not like
Well,
what.
it's no. I'm not explaining the whole scene. I wouldn't do all that. No, I'm just playing a key scene, a key point in the scene that just pretty much.
I'm just saying that every time you go back to like this is what happened in the scene. If if people watch this and they haven't seen it yet, they're like, oh, I know what happens in that scene now. Like it just for that's how people think. You know what I mean? But it's I agree. I totally agree with what you're saying. But dude,
Yeah, I mean, wait, I had to like pretty much show some sort of example, obviously,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
I'm gonna do
but
it too.
anyway, yeah, it has its moments. Basically,
For
is
sure,
what I'm trying to
absolutely.
say.
Do
But
you have any
yeah,
on your notes on your list, or you want like your next point or whatever you want to go to next? Because you can pretty much just bang out all your stuff, and I'll just respond to it. You know what I mean?
nah, but nah, I mean, it's not much right now. So,
So
but
you got through all your stuff, or you got something else?
nah, I mean, I mean, there's not really much to say right now. All I can say is like to me, it was a good flick. It was something that I mean, I think everyone should check out. It's not like you said. I mean, it's not your average cult film,
Yeah,
cult
yeah. I don't
horror.
want it to be very, very cliche or any of that stuff. They still hit me with a couple things I wasn't expecting. I'm usually pretty good at predicting what is going to happen plot line. I'd say the strong points, definitely, story, definitely editing. Like you said, the atmosphere and the gritty backdrop. Definitely the Gareth Evans. Whatever his tweaks are. That you want to say like his signature style. Um, I found awesome. Even the wardrobe down to those guards, armor, what I mean, stuff like that. Like it had a very, medieval look to me. Like you're thinking like 1905, but like the whole look to it was like, this could be, a Braveheart error, something like that. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
The fears, just the weaponry, the torture devices, everything was very medieval and
medieval-esque. Yeah, yeah, definitely,
you
definitely.
know his editing. I really want to put a microscope on his editing because as Gaz said when we discussed it with him earlier, the use of music, of drawing the tone and the mood. Excellent job of score. His editing, which would have been his camera angles when he went to those first person camera angles. You remember that, and it had kind of like the they
Right.
put dude on the device and they tightened it, and it kind of had the
Yeah.
blood spackles on the camera. I know a lot of people say whenever you're watching a movie and the blood spatters on the camera, it's not supposed to happen because if it's so realistic, there's no camera. You know what I mean? There's not going to be a camera there. But I mean, it's for me, it's like, if it's tastefully done and it's done in a realistic way, as realistic as can be. Granted, that's not a realistic situation.
Right.
Works as long as it works along with everything that's happening. And like for me, I didn't feel like that was too over the top. But I've heard people be critical about that before. Like, well, if blood spatters on the camera, there's a movie. If it's a realistic, there should be no camera there. But like, yeah, but it still is a movie.
Right.
If there wasn't a camera, you wouldn't be able to see it. So
I think it's that way of thinking, oh man, I don't want them breaking the fourth wall when they do that. You know what I'm saying? When it's like, obviously, if it's done for entertainment, then it should be just enjoyed just for that. But like you said, fans nitpick.
I can understand that, but I'm also not overly critical about it. They're like, "Oh, one drop of blood, I'm out of here, Mac. Get up. We're walking. We're walking. That was crazy. I hit my breaking point. Like it's not an ender for me. You know what I'm saying? So I thought like little details like that are cool to me. Like I said, if it goes along with everything else. So yeah, I definitely thought editing was good. Definitely good camera work, cinematography. I'm not sure if it was shot in Ireland. That's I believe that took place.
They say it was shot in Wales, I think. Maybe.
Okay, nice. So yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's beautiful, man. I mean it's a dark, decrepit, haunting island, but
Right.
beautiful on camera. You know what I mean? Like it's maybe you want to move there. Like
Oh, definitely, man. I mean, I just like the concept, the mysticism of what the island was, and I'm not obviously, everyone should just check it,
sure.
just something, it's not like I said, I'm not gonna, boast it to be the best, flick, but it is one of the best flicks on Netflix right now.
Agreed.
Definitely something like I think, you won't be disappointed at watching it. You do, then well, sorry, but not sorry.
You can go find tons of other trash if you want some more low budget horror. I mean, as far as like budget wise, everything looked clean to me. I mean, I'm going to be dead honest, it looks better than a lot of stuff that comes out of Hollywood. When you go to the theater, stuff is not always the best, you know what I mean? And for that, for it to be Gareth and that to come straight to Netflix, you know what I mean? I found it to be, quite, a well-made film. Like you said, I think that, again, like the mythos, I think the mysticism was the strong point, as well as, just even the pacing. I would say like what we both said was not our favorite part was it was somewhat slow to begin with. And at the middle, even from the beginning to the middle, it was not the most fast paced movie in the world. But I feel like after it makes that turn and like we said, the protagonist goes all in and
Right.
he goes to do what he came to do. You know what I mean? I feel like it turns up at that point from, when you start more action scenes,
exactly,
a little bit more combat,
exactly,
whatever you want to call it. It really goes up for me. And like you said, from that whole tunnel escape scene, but like from there, I was in, you know what I mean? Because I felt like, the enemies or whatever you want to call them, the ghouls that were coming at him and stuff like that were like,
right,
done well. You know what I mean? I've definitely seen cheesier stuff. I'm gonna do a little pseudo spoiler here. I'm gonna try to do it without blowing the scene, but when he's in that garden at the end and he fights his way through, and the torturer has him on the table, you know what I mean? And like,
let's just say he goes to the next level.
What he does to get was like they totally caught me, like how I thought they were gonna switch places, if you know what I mean. Like,
right. Yeah.
Do to him what he was gonna do to the protagonist. Like I thought he was gonna get him when he, what happened. And I was like,
yeah,
oh, dude, he's gonna do it, you know what I mean? And then, but he just like he left him there. He didn't even do it. I was like, that totally got. Tell me the truth. Were you expecting him to do it? What he was gonna do to him? I know you were. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, my thing was, I would expected him to do it, but at the same wavelength, I would not have expected him to do it just because of he already. Let's just say this: he already fulfilled what he had. What he might have to done, to
and he had something more important that that he
something more important that was already on his on his mind anyway. What he had to do in order to just pretty much I don't know. It was done, and pretty much he didn't need to deal with him.
Yeah,
So
yeah, no, that's 100% right. But dude, they
yeah,
totally curveballed me. I don't know if that was Gareth, whoever the writer was, but I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, he's gonna finish. I was like, they built up that scene for so long. I was like, dude, he's gonna handle it. You know what I mean? I was like this because the way it looked like he was done. You know what I mean? And then he did his thing, and I was like, dude, he's gonna.
yeah,
I mean, there's gonna be fire. You know what I mean? And then he just went
yeah.
the other thing, and I was like, oh, I get like you said. I was like, I guess it was not really that.
It's because the last, I know during those last moments, he went ham as shit. But it's like, yeah,
Yeah. It was fire. I'd
it
say
was
the ending
fire though. Yeah,
was probably my favorite part. I mean, I would say a little bit of genre blending. I would say it's horror, but some of those other things you see are kind of seemed like fantasy esque to me, and I don't mean like fantasy in a cheesy way. I mean like dark, grimy fantasy. Some of those like you said, the mysticism and some of those other elements.
yeah.
I guess if you want to call them supernatural, I don't even know what really the word would be.
Supernatural. Yeah, I would say supernatural.
You know what I mean? Which I thought was, I thought that was another whenever there's that genre blending, like it's a gamble because you're like, you start taking elements of another genre, and we've talked about times when it's gone wrong when you're like, oh no, that was trash. But I thought it was tastefully done here and it worked. Um,
Yeah,
well, I mean, like I told you before, the ending was definitely my favorite part, and well, the very end, that kind of when they're leaving and what you see kind of before the credits or whatever. I mean, well, I would say yeah, okay, maybe that was like a little bit predictable. You kind of like expected that could happen or whatever,
right.
but I don't think it was just like, oh yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Whatever, f this movie. You know what I mean? I was just kind of like, yeah, in a way, I kind of saw that coming, but it was still pretty cool. You know what I mean? It wasn't like oh, I could have predicted that, and this is trash. You know what I mean? It was just like yeah, I
Yeah,
saw it coming, but it was the way it was kind of like you saw it coming, but you kind of wanted to see it too because like oh,
yeah.
pretty cool. You know what I mean?
I,
Like
yeah, I know what you mean, man. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I see what people say. I'm not saying it's it's not Inception. It's not what's that other movie with the Prestige. You know what I mean? It's not anything like crazy, super like most original ever, but like for what they did, tackling a time period that you don't often see, 1905, like you said, cult backdrop, mysticism backdrop, some supernatural and fantasy elements, and then, little bit of, whatever you want to call it, action scenes and
yeah,
whatever.
man. Even their weapons were like some World War I shit, man. So told you right then and there. Shoot,
Grimy, dude. Just
what
so.
type of a timeline and environment?
And I thought the acting was good. I mean, dude, how I feel about stuff. When me and you watch something we don't like, we butcher it and cook it. So like it's like
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's like I said though. Okay, this is why I pretty much said what I said about the main characters because, like, I think if they focus more on like, more of his like investigation and such, because like they stretched it out a bit.
for
But
sure.
I'm not even gonna like get into what he was doing. But I'll say this much: they say like there's certain dialogue scenes that could have been shortened a bit.
I would
They didn't.
I mean,
Yeah,
how
they didn't have to put too much out of it. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like,
what was the
what's the main character gonna be?
right?
So
The length was like around 2 hours, right? So I mean, they probably could have cut 20 or 30. You know what I mean? Not that they're gonna take tips from either.
that's what I was thinking too. Like they might it was like 3 hours long, and they had to cut like an hour of freaking
Yeah,
extra scenes in order
they
just to make
probably
it
could
fit.
have cut a little material, but I don't know. Who knows? I mean, maybe what he was going for was that long buildup.
It
Like, yeah,
no, it was the buildup was worth it though.
yeah, for
Buildup
sure.
was worth
That's how I felt. That's how I felt. Like, and when all the time when I build up, it's how I wanted to. Disappointed. I'm like, oh, dude, I sat there the whole time and it never popped off how I wanted it to. But like in this was one of those cases where I'd say that like we both kind of agreed. We got the payoff. So yeah, I mean,
it.
I
Yeah.
thought it was like we said, pretty decent horror. Would definitely check it out. I think it's got an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got I think about a 6.4 or something on IMDb. I would give it probably a 6.5 to a 7. You know what I'm saying? Like I was pretty thoroughly entertained. Like we said, not the best acting, but with the protagonist, the antagonist, and so like the leads, I thought they were all solid. You know what I mean? So I would
Wait,
definitely
you get a 7 out of 10?
yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay. Um, I give it a seven. I'll say this. I give it like at least a 7.5.
For sure,
The
for sure.
reason why I give it the 0.5 is just because like the ending was very satisfying.
That's that. I was man. I could totally see it being anything
Yeah.
from like I wouldn't be like over critical and say like it'd be like less than a six or anything, but I could see it being anything from like a 6.5 to like a 7.5. You know what I mean? And then there's people that have rated it higher than us, but like we said, I thought it was pretty awesome. Apostle 2018 on Netflix, directed by Gareth Evans. Ross, Paradigm Reviews.
Right.
Mac the Rebel. You have any other final thoughts or?
Uh, yeah. www.planetxrecords.net. That's our other channels, so check that out.
Yep,
Follow Planet X Films. You know what I mean?
for sure.
Um, Twitter, Instagram.
Yep,
Check us out. So yeah.
absolutely. We'll have social media and all that stuff coming soon, hopefully a website. But in the meantime, if you're new here, subscribe, hit the bell button for notifications. People are always welcome to check out the live feed and leave your comments below. Let us know what you thought of Apostle by Gareth Evans. Um, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Follow me on Twitter, Ross Geraci, PXF, at Ross Tracy PXF. And yeah, we'll have like we said, we'll have the Twitter and all that stuff operational. We will continue to do film reviews. Hopefully some short films and some indie stuff that we'll be getting into that we work with guys on our radio show, Ancient Visions. And yeah, definitely check that out. Like we said, like, subscribe.
Soon we're gonna be reviewing VX's new favorite movie, Spawn, featuring Jamie Foxx, coming soon. So look out for that.
I'm not going to say anything about that. All I'm going to say is I heard Jason Momoa backed out of the Crow reboot, and I think that's not going down. So who knows? You guys
Mm-hmm.
might see PXF the Crow short film featuring me as the lead, sooner than later because I'd like to get that off the ground. However,
Yeah, don't call John Connor, please.
just might as well just call my short film The Crow Salvation 2. But what we say is next time we want to come back and review the epic Marvel film Venom featuring Tom Hardy. I know that's highly controversial because it was, supposed to be this, legendary failure, and I'm hearing actually pretty good things about it. We're also hoping to do some stuff with Mr. H, so check out his channel, Mr. H Reviews, British chap, and he does a lot of awesome content on films and all sorts of shows and all sorts of like that. Let us know what you guys want us to review. We could do Daredevil season 3 Netflix. We'll do shows. We'll do movies. Whatever you guys want us to review. Indie stuff on YouTube. Literally whatever you guys want to see, we'll put it out there. So like, subscribe,
Mm-hmm.
follow us. Look out for the links. Ross and Mac, Planet X Films, Paradigm Review Show. Signing out.
Take it easy, y'all. Peace.
Apostle.